My therapist says, how has your week been? And I say, time is a farce. I don't know. I love the neighborhood squirrels. I gave them a walnut the other day and I went back later and they had devoured it and I was thrilled. Hello, and welcome back to the Hard Feelings Podcast. This is, of course, my mental health podcast where I talk about things like anxiety and depression, anger, jealousy, embarrassment. That's anger again, I guess, aka Hard Feelings. Oh my goodness, we have an unscripted episode this week, you guys. This is all I got for notes. Do you want to see the one note? It says Slow Down by Laufey because, spoiler, that's the mental health bop of the week. I kind of like starting with the mental health bop of the week. You guys let me know if there's like a better way that I can share songs that I like with you because like obviously I don't want to put the clip of the music in because then this video will get copyright claimed and like they can take it down, so I don't want to do that. But I like, is it good enough with me just saying the lyrics to you? If you want to play along, like go listen to the song real quick. Again, it's Slow Down by Laufey. I always link in the description box the mental health song of the week. It's like right under the little short paragraph description, so you can go listen real quick. The thing about Laufey songs is they're not all that long. I say that, but this one could be. This song is 2 minutes and 25 seconds. You got time, go listen to it. If you don't want to listen to it though, I will of course talk about it. But I mean, a lot of the message of the song is given away in the title, Slow Down. This whole song is about feeling like you're growing up so fast and at the same time feeling like you have so much life ahead of you and just this like feeling like time is slipping away. Hello, this is how I start every single one of my therapy sessions. My therapist says, how has your week been? And I say, time is a farce. I don't know. What do you mean? It feels like I was just talking to you yesterday. Like, time literally flies so fast, and like growing up it didn't feel like that to me. Growing up you want time to go by faster, right? Because you want to be older so that you can do more things. She even references that at a point in this song. When you're younger, there's just this feeling like you want to be older so that you can be more grown up, so that you have more independence. And now that I am older and I have independence, it feels like the time just freaking flies by, and not in a good way. I feel like I turned 23 and then all of a sudden I blinked and I was 29. Like, my 20s have flown by. I know a lot of people can relate to that. You know, the panoramic times definitely made time feel even weirder. I feel like we all have this like 3-year gap in our timelines that feels like, you know, like our maturity was almost like stunted a little bit because we weren't socializing as much. I don't know. I learned a lot of skills during lockdown times. I got really into doing creative makeup and stuff, so I feel like I came out with some creative skills but lost a lot of my social skills. I'm still trying to find them. It's not sure I ever had them, but I'm trying to pick some up. So yeah, that's why when I sat down to write some notes out for this week's episode and I was like, okay, what hard feeling do I want to grapple with this week? And for me right now, it's time. Is there a feeling? Is there a feeling to describe feeling like time is going by way too fast? Is it patience? That doesn't feel right, because I feel like maybe it is patience, because impatience would be wanting time to speed up, right? So wouldn't that mean patience wanting time to slow down or being okay taking it slow? Yeah, so I'm grappling with impatience, but I want to be patient. Oh man. Yeah, that feels right. I think this week's hard feeling is patience. Wow, look, we figured it out together. Patience, I think, is the closest feeling. I think it's also a little melancholy. You know, I have an episode on that from back in October. Man, do I get melancholy in the fall and in the spring, which is coming right around the corner, according to Punxsutawney Phil. And now I'm getting all melancholy again, getting all impatient again, feeling like time is going by so fast because I have all of these goals that I want to achieve. I have all of these things that I want to do. I don't know, it just feels like I try to see my life day to day, but often it feels like weeks blur together, months blur together, and you go to tell a story and you say, oh, remember this thing that happened a couple weeks ago, and then you realize it was 6 months ago. Like, that feeling is the feeling that I'm struggling with. That hollowness that you feel upon realizing that. You know, when people post all those memes being like, me still trying to cope with 2020, but like 2024 coming around the corner, and how like it's crazy that it's been 4 years since 2020. Just that feeling that sits with you like, wow. So much happened during that time, obviously, but it just feels like it's gone by in a blink of an eye at that point. You know, I'm at the point now where I think about 2014, 10 years ago, and I'm like, what? Like, how is that even possible? That it has been 10 years since 2014. I am a completely different person than I was 10 years ago, and that kind of freaks me out too. It freaks me out and it excites me. It freaks me out in the sense that I can be such a different person within just one singular decade, but it's also cool to see, you know, because there's been a lot of growth in the last 10 years between me at 19 versus me at 29. But man, sometimes that does freak me out to think about, like, when I'm 39, how different am I gonna be? And you know, I'm trying to see that from a good point of view. I think it'll be better. With every year, I struggle not to hate myself from the year before for being stupid. You know, I don't actually think that my younger self is stupid. That's just what the mean voices in my brain tell me. You know, when I look back at past experiences, I tend to feel really embarrassed of past mistakes and hold on to them for a long time. So it can sometimes be difficult for me to think about my younger self. You know, there was a long time where, like, 2014 me, 19-year-old me, I'm like, that girl, oh my gosh, she went and got her nose pierced at some random piercing place. It got infected. They pierced it with a ring that was way too big. She had to take it out. It closed up. I've got this permanent hole in the side of my nose that I've yet to get re-pierced. You know, 19-year-old Gio was certainly making some interesting last year of her teens decisions. I was in my first year of college in 2014. Maybe it was going into my sophomore year. End of freshman year, beginning of sophomore year of college, and I was figuring it out, figuring out what I actually wanted to do, figuring out who I wanted to hang out with, what I wanted, how I wanted to spend my time, and thoughts about my future, you know? So it was a really exciting time, big time of experimentation, trying to figure out who I am. I feel like I have a much stronger sense of who I am now, but again, that freaks me out to think about me 10 years from now, possibly feeling completely different, you know? That's kind of this is another hard feeling that I grapple with, and I don't know what the name of this feeling is, but feeling nervous for the future, not because, oh, it's uncertain and I don't want everything to fall apart, but nervous in the sense that I'm like, I like who I am now. Am I gonna be really different in 10 years? I truly believe that if I were to talk to 10 years ago me, 2014 Gio, 19-year-old Gio right now, and been like, hey girl, this is who you are and this is what you're doing, yeah, would she be a little shocked that I'm not a Broadway actress, what I went to school for? I think she might be a little, but I also think she would think it was really cool what I was doing, and she would say, yeah, that checks, that makes sense, like that's cool that that's something we got into, and that's what we do now. I don't think she would be disappointed. I understand why I have this instinctual fear of being a completely different person in the next 10 years, but I also just need to remind myself that I'm not losing any part of myself. I've released things in the last 10 years, but much more than that, I've gained a lot. You know, my friend Caitlin said this in a meeting the other day. I thought this was so good. She said, I'm bigger than I've ever been right now, and I'm not talking about size. I mean the amount of space I take up, the way that I feel bigger than I've ever been. You know, bigger and smaller in the sense of small being like making yourself small and not wanting to be seen and wanting to just blend in, and big being like standing out, not being afraid to take up space, not being afraid to fill the room with your presence and with your voice and with your everything, you know? So yeah, that's a good thing to remind myself. Dang, Caitlin, that was a really good line. At the Beam Life. She's great. Okay, so there's no reason for us to be scared over getting older and changing and everything, because again, we're just getting bigger, we're not getting smaller. But I still do want to really focus on being present and being patient. You know, today I went for an extra long walk this morning and just like didn't have my phone out. I was just looking around. I was just taking in the neighborhood. I walked down some streets I hadn't walked down before, went a little further than I usually do, and was just really trying to like memorize every little detail. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird the things that we just like take in and instantly forget about later. I don't know. I feel like that's the kind of stuff when you're like on your deathbed that you think about, is like the little walks through your neighborhood and the little things that just like give you joy. What are they called? Glimmers? I learned the term glimmers recently, you guys. Oh my gosh. So if you don't know what glimmers are, basically if you are depressed and mentally chill like I am, you can look for glimmers, which are what they sound like. Little sparkly moments throughout the day. These little things that just give you like a glimmer of hope, a glimmer of happiness. Even if overall you feel depressed and you feel this heaviness on you and maybe it feels like you've been there for a long time, that's what the glimmers are for. The glimmers are like to give you those little lights to get you through and to keep you going. I find this so easy to do when I'm walking outside. Oh my gosh, nature's full of freaking glimmers, dude, and they're all squirrels. No, but a lot of them are squirrels. I love the neighborhood squirrels. I gave them a walnut the other day and I went back later and they had devoured it and I was thrilled. I see a lot of glimmers in animals. I see the little kitty cats in the windows. I love seeing cats in windows. I always like can sense when they're around. Sometimes I am scanning for them. I absolutely am scanning for them sometimes, but my boyfriend's always like, dude, you got a sixth sense. Like you just like will look up to a window and a cat's there. And I'm like, yeah, that's my connection to the universe, man. Didn't expect to get that woo-woo today, but okay, so if you're into like signs from the universe, signs from God, whatever you want to call it, for me, I think of it as the universe, as an energy. If you really start to pay attention and ask questions to the universe, you can get little signs from the universe. And for me, there are cats in the window. I don't even know how to explain it any further, dude. It's just a thing. Last spring around this time, I started to get really into like talking to the universe and looking for like answers, looking for signs and whatnot. And for me, I just started seeing cats everywhere, dude. And I had like been seeing them in the windows before, but like once I like said to the universe, like, okay, is this my sign that like I'm on the right path? It was like the universe was like, yup, you're gonna be seeing cats everywhere. And I don't care if it's coincidence because it makes me feel good. I love to see little cats. They're my big glimmers. They're absolutely my big glimmers. You know, I think when people hear like, oh, taking everything as a sign isn't healthy, but like, I don't take every cat in the window as the sign to like say yes to whatever decision I'm worrying about right now. I just take it as a sign that like the universe has my back and is always gonna give me little glimmers of hope, even in dark times. And yeah, for me, that's cats in a window. For you, it could be, I've heard people say like finding feathers everywhere or something that makes them feel like that. Birds, you know, a lot of animals. Wow. As always, this episode was off the rails. I like that I tell you as if you haven't just listened to me go up on 40 different tangents. You know what? I'm trying to make these less of like forcing a lesson on you at the end of these episodes or throughout the episodes, because that's something that I'm struggling with in my personal life. I wrote a diary entry about that last week, about how I feel this constant need to summarize my life, to summarize the lessons that I've learned so I don't forget them. And although that's not a bad thing, I can also have the tendency to intellectualize my feelings, which basically what I mean by that is feeling like my feelings are some puzzle to be figured out and that they indicate something else and there's something to be learned from that. I was telling my therapist the other day, I always get really caught up in my dreams. Every time I have a dream that freaks me out, that involves people from my real life, I am convinced it must be a sign. My brain is trying to tell me something. There's a lesson I need to learn here. And to that, my therapist said that dreaming is the work. Like, dreaming is your brain trying to make sense of your feelings, and there's no reason to like wake up and desperately try to figure out the message, because the dreaming itself is the message. And that kind of blew my mind, because I was like, what do you mean there's not an exact lesson to be learned with every dream that I've ever had? What is that tendency to want to intellectualize everything? Oh my gosh. It's hard, right? Because you and I, we're on this self-work journey, a mental health journey. We're trying to grapple with these big feelings. We're trying to process these big feelings, these hard feelings, and it's hard. Like the podcast title says, it's hard. It's hard not to intellectualize them, because what's the difference between exploring and intellectualizing? I don't really know if there is one. A goal I have going forward is to try to just feel them more. So I feel like this episode was a good example of telling you everything I'm feeling and things that are giving me comfort about these feelings and things that are worrying me about these feelings, and not needing to wrap it all up in a nice little bow. I feel like the closest thing we have to that is the song Slow Down by Laufey. Like, it's just beautiful. It is a beautiful piece of poetry all about slowing down and not rushing through life and just living in the moment and enjoying it, and how romantic that is. Like, it's really all of Laufey's music is like very romantic to me, but this song especially just like really romanticizes taking it slow, and that is something, as a people pleaser, as somebody who is a recovering perfectionist, productivity person, I don't know, like that just is a terrifying term to me. I've heard other people pick their word of the year. You know how some people pick like a word of the year? I don't. That's too much pressure for me. But I've heard people say, oh, my word of the year is slow. And I'm like, ugh, that terrifies me. I can't go slow. I'm gonna run out of time. I have so much I need to do. When in reality, it's like when we're constantly going, the time goes by really fast. The closest I have ever felt to actually being present and living in the moment and taking things slow is going for a really long walk outside without my phone. No, I don't mean without my phone. You still take your phone, just put it in your bag. You know, just don't be on it, because you gotta be safe. But that is like the closest I get to feeling present. At the beach too. The beach is really nice. The beach is really nice for feeling present, but it's winter time right now. Not that I couldn't go there and walk around, but in the meantime, you know, we're trying to make this easy. We're trying to keep it local. Just go take a walk around the block. Just go smell a tree. People always say touch grass. Maybe don't. I'm allergic to grass personally, but maybe just go outside, take a big whiff. That'll help ground you. And that, like I said, there's also lots of glimmers out there. And most of them are animals, but a lot of them are flowers, and a lot of them are funny shapes in the clouds. I don't know, blimps. There's a lot of glimmers out there. Whatever makes you feel good is a glimmer. All right, everybody, that brings us to the end of this week's episode. Thank you so much for listening to yet another episode of the Hard Feelings podcast. If you like the makeup on my face today, I'll have all the products listed down below for you. Got a little iridescent moment going on. And if you're listening and you're like, wow, I have FOMO, I would love to see what she's wearing, just come on over to YouTube. Check it out, dude. Look on my Instagram. You know I'm always posting pictures and reels and videos over there. All that'll be in the description box. Also, Slow Down by Laufey. Please go listen to the song if you haven't yet. It is so freaking good. If you like jazz, which I do. So thanks so much for listening. Take care of yourself, and I will talk to you next week with a new episode. Bye!